deployment is so fun because it always works. There are no problems whatsoever. Oop, sorry, gotta check sound here as always. Huh. Why is this thing not showing up as maybe I don't have this. Oh, there it is. Let me just do some background stuff on this. What is this thing called again? This stream. Yeah, so just finished doing some deployment on some new code, or some of the code that's actually been tested here on the stream, or developed here on the stream in terms of some of the infrastructure work. All the work that I've been doing to generalize and make it to where I can just copy and paste, throw the stuff in. It's worked fairly well. Just having to make little changes depending on the app itself. I do still have to go back and clean up code and stuff like that, but the app itself starts properly. I'm happy about that. The app itself starts properly. The only thing I didn't do is like restart the server. I do have to do like a PM2 save. So I'll probably get that done here either in a couple hours or tomorrow or something like that. Or like I should say after the stream or tomorrow. Oops, put that up there. Yeah, sorry. Close that one out. Yeah, so probably get this done like tomorrow or something like that, and finish that out. But one change that I did have to make on the code is this line here. In terms of starting the app, I didn't account for an empty string. So I don't know. I guess this is where something like TDD, test-driven development, would actually make sense and help me thwart or see that ahead of time. It's just definitely something that I need to learn, or a concept I need to learn and get better at. So I've been doing that. I mean, actually, I've been polishing up on my skills a little bit and trying to do a little bit better in terms of what I'm actually doing myself. I'm semi-stalling, guys, because I'm just doing some stuff on the back end here for previous streams, adding tags, adding other stuff and images. I like to use the same image, as you guys know. It also makes the stream a little bit more identifiable, or easily identifiable on the main on the main screen there, or on the main page for the channel. So I usually like to have the same image, and then it'll be the same thing. I don't know what that does to the algorithm, but I don't know. I like to do that. I'm trying to do that right now. Get it out the way. Also, set everything, update playlists and things like that with the new actual stream. I could do it in bulk too. That's one thing I could do. That's for sure. I didn't think about that until now. So, yeah, actually deploying this code and seeing how it works in the wild revealed a bit of an issue that I had. Let me see how this looks on stream. Oof. Cool. Let me just increase the font here. That's cool. So a tad bit better. Goodness. Oh goodness. All right. So got all the background stuff done. All right. In terms of get out of this and get out of these. All right. So let's get started here. All right. So in terms of the code, this is probably besides like minor changes that need to be done. So far, I haven't seen anything major. But one thing I had was I was declaring like standard output. I mapped it to a I mapped it to a string. Oh, sorry, to a variable, and then I ran some functions against that string. So like, or a regular expression or a dot match. So dot match, use a regular expression in that dot match to match anything within the string. I would think that would, work with an empty string, but it doesn't. It's like it can't do anything based off of that empty string. So with me doing the dot match on there, actually, let's look at that to be more precise here. All right, so let's see. I think it was under system confs server. Ooh. Yeah, this should be it anyway. Not exactly what I was thinking about, but it should be it nonetheless. No, this is not it. It's under boilerplate then. Static files, index.js. Excuse me if I yawn. All right, cool. So CMD or command, right? Essentially, whatever the output of this was, or this child process.exec, then it should do a match for Mongo D. And the thing is, it's like, okay, it should produce an empty string. Oh, that's why. That's why. You see how I have it, this indexed portion here is 0? By doing this match, I think it produces an array, or dot match produces an array within the string itself, and that's why it's doing that. And by me putting in the 0, it caused an issue. So what I did, that match 0, that includes, yeah. I'm trying to remember how this actually works without having to like rerun the code and everything like that. Actually, yeah, who cares? Let's just rerun it. Just for, for science here. So if standard, okay. All right, so let's do standard out match Mongo D. Let's just do that right there. And we're gonna console log that. That's probably a good way, like a good thing to do is like review all the different console, the sub functions of console. There's console log, which is of course popular, just logs the output. But then there's also console error, console.error, I believe. And then with console.error, it'll log. Excuse me, I'm pretty tired. Excuse me about that. It'll log whatever the output is, but then it will properly mark it as an actual error, which is good for syntax, not syntax highlighting, but it's good for log message highlighting in terms of like when you're doing stuff. You want to have things displayed in the console itself. If you're looking at Google, what's it called, web tools or anything else like that, or dev tools within Google Chrome, then you'll see it properly marked or highlighted with red, like, hey, this is an error. So you usually it's probably something I need to do myself, but if you console log something or console, if you have like a dot catch or a catch and a try catch block, instead of console logging out whatever the error is, you should probably do a console.error. There's also things like console.dir and some other stuff. Lionel, man, appreciate you liking the video, bro. I just decided to finally look at my comments. So thanks for liking the video, brother. I hope everything's good with you on your side. Sorry for being late. You're probably already gone by now, man, but I appreciate you you showing up, man, and just giving me even that little bit of engagement right there, man. Appreciate that. But yeah, so it's probably best to do a console.error when it's an actual error. If you're just console logging output so you can see how it looks or some BS like that, then yeah, you can go with the console.log. Then there's also like a console.dir, and then with console, I think console.log or console.dir, you can actually do like recursion, and that works a little bit better on things like arrays and objects. Excuse me, nested arrays and objects, or nested objects. Because with an object, if you output an object with your console log, it's usually it's sometimes lazy, and it won't like just output the entire object for you and everything within it. You actually have to tell it, say, hey, listen, go this deep in terms of the nested array that's in there. Or else it'll say, hey, this is an object, and this object has objects within the object. And then that's it. Like, it'll do like the bare minimum. It won't actually go through and or it won't do recursion through that. Take that off there. It won't do recursion through that that object itself, as I know it. All right. So that's probably something we should look at here in a little bit, though. I'll probably bring that up here on screen. All right. STD out match. Okay. SQC on. So let's go ahead and save that. All right. So this is the output here. I mean, it's kind of buried in there, of course, but this is the output here. So what happens is if you try and do this on a null string or like a string with nothing in it or anything like that, it will output, but then it'll just output nothing. In my case, it outputs an array, but like with that array, like for instance, let's just do Mongo D's or D's nuts. Okay. I should get an error here. Here we go. No. Let's make sure that's the right thing. So one thing you can do, you can combine strings. You can make that template literal. You can do all types of other stuff. I just like doing for quick ones instead of like, doing the template literal syntax and the $, curly braces, tick marks, and all that other stuff. I'll just do like a quick, just a string here and then comma and then go from there. And then, that's the way I have it concatenate or do everything or put it all together for me. So just do all those stars and then, all right, cool. So by it being null like that, that was a problem when I just deployed this code, and it took a second to figure out and get it right. And I could probably go back and still have the let CMD and all this other stuff in there, but there's really no point. It doesn't really do anything, and that CMD wasn't used anywhere else. Maybe it's something that I can go back and look at and manipulate as a variable, but essentially all it did was take standard output and then do a dot match against it. But if the dot match is a null string, then it's going to have an error. So for instance, I'll do this dot match, and then I'll do 0, right? So it's going to produce an array with this dot match. It's going to say, hey, listen, and match this string. And then once it does that, then it'll produce an array, and that array will just be made up of a string, and that string will be what I actually have to deal with, or this is what I have to match against or do anything with, which is where I do the dot includes, right? So it's best if I could probably just, cut a lot of that out and just say dot includes, MongoD or something like that. I was doing some other stuff with it. All right, well, maybe we can shorten that out, but we'll see. I could probably test it out here in a second. So if I just do this 0, we'll see what happens. Or we do this, the array symbol, or the square brackets, and then 0 to reference a index within the array. So I'm just gonna go do that. Yeah, so this is where I have this issue here. And this is where it's like, cannot read property 0 of null. And that's where I was like having this issue. So now let's actually do the proposed fix in terms of like what I was just thinking. It wasn't like crazy as some of the stuff I had to do. I had to do some other stuff as well and testing to make sure it all worked. So the maintenance ran over a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I wanted to kind of be, wanted to make sure this worked and worked properly. So it's not working now. What we could do is, in my case, I can cut this out. And these are like optimizations, other things that you can do. Once everything's working, you do a little bit extra. So if I do a dot includes, one dot and F2, so let me get rid of that one. So that should still be erroring out. Very cool. All right. So in my case, it says error. Here we go. So it'll show as false. So I really could shorten it up and then just do this all in one. So for instance, even if it was null, even if it was like null, I should be okay. All right, let's try that out actually. So what we'll do is, here we go. So standard output, right? Standard output should equal whatever this is here. So if I do this command, in my case, I have two instances of MongoDB running on my system, and one of them should include, in that string, should include the name of the actual project name, right? So it should include that. Now, what I can do is, see I can do that against a null string as well. So let's test that out to make sure. Let string empty string. All right, and then in this case, console log, and I'm going to do this against empty string. And like, this is kind of like the post-mortem, after deployment, like how can I make this even better? Because now I have an issue, but it's like, okay, I want to have this issue, but I want to use the least amount of code possible to catch this error, and move forward with it. Now, also, there's other things that I can do here that you can see in terms of like, oh, okay, this is pretty screwed up in terms of what I'm doing, or not clean, or not good. Again, I'm still getting better with this type of stuff, but I can actually encase all of this in a try-catch block to make it a little bit, to make it come out a little bit better in terms of like actually not failing, or if it does fail, alerting, us as the developer, administrator, or anything else like that. All right, cool. So empty string. I should get some stuff out here. False, 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 false. Good, good. So this right here gives me false. So even if it doesn't, like, what this tells me by doing it like this, that whether it has something in there, or meaning like, it gets it from standard output, or if it's an empty string, this will work. So essentially, I can comment out these lines here, and then I can literally just cut it down to this. And then that should work. In fact, not even that. I should actually be able to, whatever the output string is, because I'm not doing anything special with this. I should be able to cut it down to this. So you can see like the regression in terms of like, okay, making this a little bit more, making sure that this matches, like, making sure that this matches all issues or occurrence of issues. Essentially, I want to make sure that if this MongoDB instance is not there or seen by the process or PS command, that, start, go down this line of like, code here, or this block of code, start the MongoDB service based off of the config file that I have, and then move forward from there, like starting the app and doing other stuff. It's just like, I want to make sure that, hey, it works. So let's do this. Boom, and that should be it. If I was to just take this whole portion of the screen here, I have this if statement or correction. So I have this block here. So it's this if block, and this really just handles, it just makes sure that MongoDB is started. If MongoDB is not started, then don't worry. Or if MongoDB is started and it sees that it's started, then don't worry about it. You don't have to do any of this, right? And it only does this if you are, or if it's labeled as the instance type is primary, which we went over in the last video with PM2, and how PM2, you can use that, or you can use PM2 to run things in cluster mode. But the issue with running things in cluster mode is that it doesn't always catch the what's it called properly? Oh man, cluster. Oh, it doesn't differentiate in the process. So like if you do a cron job or anything like that, it doesn't know that it's already ran that cron job on another another instance of that clustered app. So when you have those multiple app instances, and those app instances go beyond, of course, one, then you start to have issues where other instances of your app will run the same code, especially if it's like a job that happens on a regular basis, like a cron job or anything else. So you'll have duplicates of things that are getting executed. And you don't want that, because it's just not necessary. It's not efficient. One of the things I even like, even with my night job, right? Like I hate inefficiency so much so to where like some things will happen at my night job. For instance, if I'm done with work, right? Done with like whatever I got to do at my station, I don't want to do anything else. unless there's actual work to be done. Like if there's work to be done, all right, cool, let's go ahead and do it. But if you're like just holding me to a certain time, like, yo, like be efficient with my time. Like let me go do something else, or let me go lay down and sleep. Like let me do something with my time, because you're not doing anything with my time. So why should I waste it just sitting around waiting for, you know, X, Y, and Z to happen? Like, so that's one thing. You know, so if it means like, hey, I'm not going to stay until 6 o'clock. You know, the shift ends at 6. I'm not going to stay until 6 o'clock, and just so I can log out at 6. It's like 5:45. Yeah, let me leave. Like I don't need the extra 15 minutes, and that's another problem. It's like I don't need it, so that creates, you know, issues there. And that's kind of like, I can understand why people don't want, you know, people working second jobs, because then that need is not there. But you know, also it's just like, hey, listen, you're not paying me enough to just sit around. Like especially if I don't like to just sit around. I hate sitting around. All right, cool. Check if just kind of off here. I'll leave that. All right. Because you see how these are connected, these blocks of code. I like to separate them because they don't really depend on one another. This if statement though is a block unto itself. So like if correct user and this, and go ahead and run this. Oh, okay, so it actually does depend on it. Ooh. So for that incorrect user. All right, good. I'll leave it as is there. That's a whole nother thing with the incorrect and correct user. Yeah, it's a whole nother thing that I do. I like to run things with certain users, and that's based off of something that I started in another project, in the Growbox STEM project. All right, so moving on. I'm starting to wake up here, guys. Thanks for bearing with me on that. So if process is primary, oh, you know, we didn't do a picture. I know I've been like really bad with that lately, and just jumping into it. Oh, that's a crazy picture. Little Iron Man fan art there. I'm not really impressed though. This is a crazy picture, and I think this guy does a series, because I've seen this picture before. He does a series with the mischievous monkey god. I forgot what, Inte. I think it's Inte is the monkey god in Japan. But this guy has like other stuff, and let's see here. Oh, this one's cool. Huh. I've never seen this one. Oh, it looks like this guy's like crushing angels. That one's cool. Here we go. Yeah, so this one here is like, I think the monkey god fighting with his staff, which is kind of cool. It's like a lot of things happening in these pictures, and this guy draws. Like even this here. Again, this is the monkey god staff that extends. Is the god's name Inte? I don't remember. This one's like one of the more epic ones here, where you see like the monkey god. I guess he's getting hurt, falling a little bit. So a lot of the battles happen in air or in the heavens, it seems. So yeah, that's just something else. But yeah, I like this that guy's artwork. Whoa. Okay. Right Busters Project Vril. All right, that's something different there. It's like a huge laser weapon or something like that, with like, I don't know. It looks like a V8 engine, or yeah, it looks like a damn engine. Anyways, so that's the picture. That's the art for the day. All right. Can't believe you guys let me forget that. All 0 of you watching. I can't believe it. How dare you guys? Get on your job. Yeah, I'm like really off at the time, but I wanted to make sure I got a stream done tonight. All right, cool. So that's done right there. Jumped all over the place here with it, but in terms of looking at this and looking at what I can actually, or what I need to do to make this a little bit better. That's one thing that you can do. So it's like kind of like optimization after the fact. All right, cool. So let's move on to the next thing. I did want to talk about the console log here. So let me get the yet. I really don't know why it does this. I gotta figure out why my Google Chrome brings up like all the old pages, which is annoying. It's only this instance of Google Chrome because I use this instance for work and then for streams. All right, so let's actually look at this. There we go. I think this is a good one then. All right, so this is pretty cool here. So a web console is a tool which is mainly used to log information associated with a web page, like network requests, JavaScript security errors, warnings, CSS, etc. And wanting you to sign in, screw that noise. It enables us to interact with the web page by executing JavaScript expressions in the contents of the page. In JavaScript, the console is an object which provides access to the browser debugging console. We can open a console in the web browser by using Control-Shift-K for Windows, Mac. The console object provides us with several different methods, like log. So we're always used to log, but you can actually do .error, .warn, .clear, time and end, table, count, group, and group end, and custom console logs. Let's look at these methods one by one. So in this case, if I console log 1, true, null, undefined, an array, an object, these are the things that this is what I expect to see, and this is how it's actually going to look. Like if it's an array, it's going to show you that, hey, listen, the item itself is an array. It has a length of 4, or has 4 items in it. And then if it's an object, this is how it's actually going to look too. And most of the time, what's going to actually happen is you won't actually see this output here, especially if you haven't had the console open when this event was logged. You won't see that in the console, but you will see where it says array and then like the length itself, or how many items are within the array itself, or just say object, and then you have to expand it from there. So that's one thing. Console log or console.error used to log error messages to the console, useful in testing of code. By default, error messages will be highlighted with a red color. So that's kind of the biggest thing, is just like the actual syntax highlighting, or the not syntax highlighting, but the actual message highlighting. So this is a simple error. Warn I've never seen or used, but that's pretty cool. So this is a warning. So and this is kind of cool. Like for instance, if you have like a try catch block that you're using, and then in that try catch block, the message that you're outputting, I've had it to where it's like, okay, I have a try catch block, but I don't care if an error occurs. Like even if an error occurs, just be silent about it and keep it moving. It doesn't matter to me. I only use the try catch block to continue processing and making sure that it goes on, because usually you write code to actually work. The reason why you have things like try catch blocks or .catch, .then, .catches, and even .finallys is because just in case it doesn't work. It's just like, okay, well, if it doesn't work, then how are we going to deal with this? And again, even with JavaScript or anything like that, you can in that catch portion of the try catch block, you can actually have it output to an API, actually do an API call as its fail. And that API call could go to your own custom API, or some other type of database, or to Splunk or something like that. If you wanted to like have it, if you want to push all this stuff into a monitoring tool of some sort, you can even have it go to something like a just do a simple email. That may or may not be good, because sometimes you get certain errors and you're like, well, do I really need an email about this? Like, I don't really care. Like, it is what it is. If it doesn't work, do I need an email do I need this process sending me an email possibly 100 times or something like that before I get it? So that's probably where it's better to send it to either a backend database or some type of monitoring tool, like Splunk, SolarWinds, or something like that, that might have a special API endpoint just for your app or something like that, So that's something that's pretty cool, or that you probably want to do in terms of like doing more advanced monitoring, even things like Elasticsearch, or sending it to something like that, so you can actually look at it and really conceptualize everything in terms of when problems happen, and then how like maybe even data breaches happen and all types of other stuff with your app. So that's something that you have to think about on, like, say, an enterprise level. You want to have a dot catch. And actually, let's kind of write one a little bit. Ooh, no, I don't need that. I just, hold on. All right, that's what I need to do. Okay, there we go. All right, so for instance, you have a try. Sorry, I have to say it like that. I was like, why did I just say it like that? I should say. And then you have a catch. So, if that's properly your code. This is like your code having a heart attack. So then here I can write a function, right? That, like, const. All right, and then maybe I have just like, and this is something I've been thinking about this in terms of like building this out in terms of a framework, which would be kind of nice. So let's see, const core equals. And again, this is something I've been thinking about doing recently. And you've always seen me use like core and core.js. So part of that, I probably want to do like, say, /core error handling tools. And in that, I might have like a function that I like to use. So error handling tools. And I'm the type of person where I'll use like the full variable name like this, instead of trying to destructure it or trying to reference, single function, and this is a function that's already in the module.export, or is a module.export, or an exports. I usually like to use exports. Actually, let me make sure if that's a thing. I was saying that, but here we go. Yeah. So yeah, you can just do a single one. So you have module, and then okay. Module is plain JavaScript object with an exports property. Exports is a plain JavaScript variable that happens to be set to module.exports. At the end of your life, Node.js will basically return module.exports to the require function. A simplified way to view a JS file in Node could be this. Oh, okay. So it's not exports or export. It's just exports and that's it. I didn't know that. I could have sworn you could oh, you know what? So there's like two ways you can do the module.exports. So for instance, the reason why I was confused is because you can do module.exports and then, a variable. And you can just export that variable. Or you can do it like this, which is what I like to do. All right, in variable. And then that works, right? Like that's how I usually like to do it, because then now I can do like variable, then variable 2. Right. So then you could see that I can actually have like I can export multiple things by just exporting a JSON object. Now it looks like it already does this. Also, you can actually have multiple declarations of this. Oops. You can have it like that as well. But I usually like to do everything like this. And you guys see that in my code. I always just do the JSON object because I want to have the option of going back, or want to have the flexibility of going back and just putting it back in there. And also it's just, how you say, it's just a standard for me, if you will. All right, cool. So in this case, you'll see const core require, and then I can do const error handling tools require, and then core and error handling tools. We'll take this out because we don't need that single function. This is how I roll. And then I can do something like I can have like a whole combo, right? Like error handling combo 1, because I'm a JavaScript developer. And this is how we write function names and variable names. If you don't like it, you're wrong. Get over it. All right? That's it. So, and then this can just take an E, just take in the error and then do whatever. And then this, in that error handling combo 1, that combo 1 could be like function error handling combo 1. And then it takes in string, your string. I don't know, I think I might take the journey and start getting on TypeScript. I'm actually taking a course, and I'll let you guys know what that is actually here in a second. I'm actually taking a course on Udemy about JavaScript, and I'm just learning more about JavaScript itself and the underlying technology and what it does and how everything works and all that other stuff. So this one is a really good course. I really like it so far. And I watch a little bit throughout the day. Like I watched a little bit today, just like, all right, cool. I'm trying to learn something new or learn some new stuff. And gift this course. I was thinking about doing like a gift giveaway. I'd have to plan that out a little bit more, but I'm just thinking about that. Overview. Let me get this and I can get it over to you guys. All right, so let me make sure this is the right link here. Yeah, here we go. So JavaScript, the Advanced Concepts 2021. I got it for like $10, I think, yesterday, or actually a couple days ago now. Yeah, I got it earlier this week. I was just like, you know what? If I'm, looking to better myself and better my skills and my overall code, then I need to understand a little bit more about what the hell I'm actually using as an interpret. Is this an interpreted language? Is it a compiled language? You find out that it used to be interpreted. Now it's more of compiled. It's interpreted, but it's also compiled, right? So it uses JIT, which is just in time compilation. So JIT. So some things are compiled and some other things are interpreted because it has to send this and it has to reach the user or the end user as fast as possible. And you find that out when you do some research. You start to actually look a little bit more into what you're actually doing, as as work. So yeah, I'm gonna put that in the chat. I haven't figured it out yet, but I may actually just gift um, not this course, but just gift in general. Like just put this out there and be like, all right, cool. If you guys want, like probably put out 2 like vouchers or something like that for Udemy, because I'm all about doing more and getting better. A lot of people want more, but they don't want to do more, and it's just something that especially in the Black YouTube space or the Black manosphere, if you will. Ed talks about a lot of people. I forgot where he got it from because I think it's like a well-known saying. A lot of people want things to get better without changing, and I'm paraphrasing there. But we want things to get better, but we don't want to actually change. Meaning that we don't want to do the uncomfortable work of studying. I'd rather lay down and watch anime than watching these videos. And I'm probably going to watch some anime after this. I'm not going to lie to you, but I'm also going to be watching these videos as well, either throughout the day or at my night job. I watch it at my night job quite a bit. I watch this for a couple hours, or for like an hour or so, and that's kind of like a problem, right? Because we'll spend all this time doing all the stuff that just doesn't make us money, that causes us to spend money. I can go on Car Gurus right now and look for an hour or two and looking at cars and looking at things I want to buy, but I'm not doing the work that would actually allow me to make more money faster, or make more money so I can make money faster, so I can actually go and get the vehicle, get the house, get the whatever item of the week that I want from Amazon and all this other stuff, blah, 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 blah. Right now I'm in like a bit of a spending freeze and I'm trying to just pay some stuff off and get that over with. But it's just like, why aren't we doing this, in the first place? It's just like crazy. But that's how it is. That's kind of the human condition. We want to do all these things. We want to do everything else except for what's necessary for us to actually achieve our goals. File. All right, so this just simulates another file, but that's just something that's interesting there. So like we can have error handling combo 1, and that could be that could reference another function called send email, and then error string, right? Because if I have Sarah send email, I can have in that send email function. Forgot that. So here, and we can reference a module. So send mail. I use the send mail node module from npm.js, and this is usually what I use to actually send actual emails. So send email. What do I have in terms of an example of this? Let's go to the treestarsystems, and I do have post receive. So I have server. routes processor.js, simple parser, simple mail parser. Is it this? Node send mail. Yeah. Is this it here? Trying to find the module I use on a regular basis. I don't want to like look it up on the other code base that I actually work on, because you just got to keep some things secret. From to function. All right, so I usually do this in a different way. Here and mail parser. Let me see here. Node mailer, that's it. I use node mailer. Oops. Node mailer. There we go. So with the node mailer, okay, great. Where do I have to go to get this documentation? An issue. Oh goodness, come on. Documentation. I guess they changed it or something, man, because yeah, they changed it because it used to be kind of like on there a little bit, but that's probably a while ago. So with node mailer, you have to define your transporter and then your transporter object, and it has all the different configs and everything that you're going to need. So in fact, let's look at this. So if I look at my message, like it has a from, to, subject, the text, and then the HTML version of that message. So all of that would be in here. So send email, error handling tools, send email, string. Again, we're just going off of like what we would do if we had like, when I got down this rabbit hole, it was like using the try catch and then handling errors with your try catch, and how you can actually make your try catch a lot smarter or better, if you will, and actually show you some errors. And this is something that you probably want to do in development, or when you're doing your initial development, or initial deployment, I should say. So development and deployment. So you want to see what errors users are having, and it might be like a copious amount of errors, and you just turn it on for a little bit, but you don't do it like for a long period of time or anything like that, because it could be a ton of information that's coming in. But you can pipe all this stuff to things like, you might want that, and then have a very high performance logging system like Splunk, Observium. I like that's for mostly networking stuff, and or SolarWinds. You can have some type of logging system that will take all that information in, or Elasticsearch, which I own them as a company in my stock portfolio, or in some of my stock portfolios, like my Roth and my general investing portfolio. But Elasticsearch, and they have their Elk Stack, or I forgot what they call it now, but it used to be the Elk Stack, which was Elasticsearch, Logstash, and Kibana. So Elasticsearch handled all the, I believe it used, I think it was Apache Search or something like that. Apache, not Apache Spark, but maybe it was Apache Spark. But it used an open source version of a search engine pretty much. I think it's like Apache Solar or something like that. And then you had Logstash that actually did all the logging. So for instance, if you had an error or something like that, Logstash would either live on the computer as a script or a daemon that would run on a regular basis, and then it would handle all of the the transport of the log messages. And then you'd have Kibana that did the visualization. So that was like the elk stack back in the day. And I used that like over 5 years ago. Well over 5 years ago, because that's been out for a while. And now you're seeing, I think, where Amazon is like done something with it, or they forked that because Elasticsearch has changed their I think the terms of service. But anyways, let me write this here. So let's write this little case or this example. All right, so we might have we have our message here, and we have what's it called? Text could be just, I'm just gonna have text as a variable. Like, I know I'm going like really deep with this, but I kind of want to just, I want to explore this. Text error. And then you could do HTML error. All right, so you can have like a really nice, maybe like you can add some CSS to make the email a little bit easier to look at and digest. Add some pretty stuff to it to make it look really nice. And you can maybe click through it, you know, click on a button, then it reveals some other stuff. Maybe some highlighting of an error or something like that. That would be nice. All right, so we can have those things, right? So we can have all those nice things. So we can do let text error equal error string, right? And it's like nothing there. So HTML error equal error string. Actually, we'll make that a template literal. So this is a lot easier to deal with. And of course, it's in an email, so you want to do your inline CSS, right? So your style, and then in the style, you'll say like color is red. Okay, so then that's how you'll write your HTML error, and then you'll have your transport object. So we got node mailer. Node mailer. That's the module name, and I was totally wrong. Node mailer. Oh crap! I forgot to call this guy. Shoot. All right, so node mailer. Let's do the transport, and then let transporter. And there's more to it than this, so let's do this one. Single connection. Oh, okay, you can actually do like multiple connections and stuff too. I don't really ever use this. I only use a single connection. So, all right. Let's have these side by side. I kind of like this exploration here. So it's because it's something I've been thinking about, and I'll probably save it somewhere, because I'm like, I want to handle errors better, and I don't want to rewrite the code every single time, and I want to have a standard way of dealing with errors. And again, this is a part of writing infrastructure code. When you're writing infrastructure code, you want to do things that will make your infrastructure strong, and then if it is not strong, it reveals the vulnerabilities. It makes it easy to reveal the vulnerabilities. It says, oh, okay, this happens. Boom, send out this error message, so on and so forth. All right. Create transport, and then options. So options and then defaults. Why is it showing like that? That looks like Korea. Options, defaults. All right, so with this options, I usually like it like this, or I do it like this. And we'll do let options equal. And then part of the options that we have would be this here. So where's your host? Especially if you're using like Office 365 or something, you're going to have, you know, the SMTP settings for Office 365 for user, you know, have password. So OF 365 password. And these are for your trusted apps, you know, email @a@.com. And, you know, you want this to be secure. So you probably change that. So we'll do, in this case, it's true or false. So it's a Boolean. And it would be 465. So we can use TLS and all that stuff. And our connections will not be pooled. All right, cool. So now I have this. Boom, I think that should be it. Transporter. And then after this, I'm going to use transporter and just like dot something, send the message. All right, cool. So other transports plugins, authentication. Oh, okay, so you can verify the SMTP connection as well. I never do that. So sometimes just don't listen to me. Pool testing, SMTP. Excuse me. There we go, send mail. All right, cool. Dot send mail. This is cool. All right. Proxy delivery status and notifications. So something like this, send mail, transporter.send mail. So in this case, I think, hold on, no, there's like something I'm missing here. So I have my options. I should have transporter.send mail. I should be one other thing because I have to rope in the options here somewhere, or the message itself. SMTP, some message, custom authentication, delivery status and notifications. So requested DSN, usage, transporter, send mail, and then data. There we go. So send mail. Easier if I did it like this. Jesus, why is my ear itching? Something about like Georgia or just the country in general is that there's so many freaking bugs, man. Jesus, man, like just getting bit by bugs all the time, and goodness, that gets annoying. And there's like always something flying around, always, bro. Today I found this. I think it's a mosquito. The thing, I'm not exaggerating or anything like that. It was about as big as my pinky nail. My pinky nail is probably, in terms of like just on my finger, because everybody's pinky nail isn't the same, of course. My pinky nail is probably like half an inch in terms of like from the cuticle to the edge of the nail, it's cut. You know, it's about half an inch, and then another maybe quarter of an inch wide. This thing was about as big as that. And like, you know, I see it just chilling on a spoon. Like that I just have sitting here, and I'm like, yo, what is that? Like it was like literally it looked like a freaking alien. Like it was big. It was so big that even after I crushed it, it still maintained like its overall like shape and everything. Like it wasn't really crushed like a regular mosquito. I was like, yo, this mosquito eats horses. This mosquito doesn't go after humans. Because I woke up. I woke up and I'm like looking. I'm like, okay, why? How is this? How am I still alive? And this thing it was crazy. I've never seen a mosquito that big. And like that thing was the size of like, it was bigger than, as I said, it's like, it was it was big. It was big. I think it was like a yellow mosquito is what they call it or something like that. But that shit was huge, man. That I was just like, whoa, this thing probably eats horses, rhinos, larger mammals. Okay, yeah. Okay, so data and then message. Right, so that's where you do that, and then you can actually have a dot then. Console dialog. Send. Right, and then yeah, probably something like that. Yeah, there we go. So then this would be our email. So send email function, email string takes email string. Once it takes email string, then I could say send email, right? So send email takes error string, boom, and then I could do like again, what's it called? Send API call, right? And then that API call or Splunk API call. And then from there, I could say, error string as well. Right? And then like go on from there. So this would be my error handling combo. Maybe I have an error handling combo for the front end, for the back end, so on and so forth. So I can name that differently or however I need to. Once I have that, then I can come up here and say error handling tools, because this is this file here from this point on, right? And then node mailer. Woohoo. There you go. That's crazy. Like, like I'm linting the code in a text editor through my head. All right, because that wouldn't have worked. There's probably so much other code in here that just will not work. Anyways, so error handling tools dot error handling combo 1 and takes an E, which is the error that I caught, and then you go from there, and then ends gracefully and everything works, right? Or everything continues on. And then from there, I can use like any one of my tools like Splunk, Elasticsearch, or whatever, and just take it from there in terms of like handling my errors. And this is why it's like good to do the more advanced stuff in terms of looking at how to handle these errors and making sure that your foundation is rock solid. And if your foundation is not rock solid, has a crack, or has some type of vulnerability, that you actually catch it gracefully, and then report it to wherever you need to. Like, your app is having problems, go ahead and do this. So doing all types of other stuff like that. And that's like the nice thing here, like or about doing stuff like this. One, all this started off is with the includes, like how can I make this shorter? So instead of having two conditions like a or condition or anything like that, I can just have one condition. But then also with that, if there's a condition that it just doesn't catch or doesn't work properly, I can use a try catch in this, and then produce whatever I need to, or dot then, or what have you, or dot catch. So that's something that's very important, especially when working with asynchronous functions and things like that, and putting things in production and making sure that even if it doesn't work, that everything still comes out all right, and the app remains up and provides an error to the user and provides an error to you as a person in the back end. So actually, let's look at Splunk. And all this stuff started, or one of the reasons why we're here is that we were looking at this right here. So console warn. So for instance, if it's a warning or anything like that, and you have that in your try catch block, so you have that in your try catch block here. Maybe I do like a dot warn or something like that. Send email error, and then I can even do, if it's an error, maybe I can have send email warning, right? And then when you send the email for the warning and error and all this other stuff, then it's like, you have things that will warning string. You might have something like that. So this is what's nice about, writing stuff in, writing foundational code, writing in JavaScript and all this other stuff, is that you can actually make it to where you can refine your product over time so that it can give you a little bit more in terms of information to make sure that your app is working properly. But yeah, I actually put this, console was cleared. So I never did this console.clear. Yeah, I never had to use that. That's really important if you're using like dev tools. So for instance, I think it's like Control Shift I. Yeah, Control Shift I will bring up dev tools, and in dev tools I can go here, and then this is where I can do console dot. Oh wow, look at this. Dot assert clear context. Whoa, there's a lot more, right? All right, cool. So we'll just do that, and then I can clear that console. Boom. And then it prints out console was cleared. So you can actually test these things out, on any web page, really, once you have the actual console. And you can actually start writing JavaScript in this console as well, so you can actually catch certain things within this page and test your code out, kind of like on a live page, live site. So let me go ahead and put that in the chat there. So guys, definitely go ahead and check that out and learn a little bit more. And it's definitely something I need to be reading after this stream, so I can get a little bit better understanding of all the things you can do with console. And from the dev tools, from what we just saw, there's so much more that I didn't even look at. So like, let's look at Splunk. It's actually, I think this is a publicly traded company. Yeah, SPLK. This is a publicly traded company, and you can go ahead and buy certain things like that. You could buy different modules and stuff like that. So the IT search engine. Okay, let's look at this. I actually wanted to see like some images of Splunk. Okay, this would be good. So if I view this, all right, cool. So this is your Splunk dashboard, and you can use Splunk for taking an error logs from Cisco equipment or any type of networking equipment or anything that can actually log to Splunk. With Splunk, most likely it has an API. So with that API, I can actually consume that API or send or push things to that API. So either consume it or feed it. I guess if we're going to stay on that track of those use of words. But I can either consume the API, meaning I can get things from it, or I can actually feed the API, so I can give it new data. And then if I'm monitoring, say, an app or anything like that, I can set up my Splunk dashboard to where I can see, okay, in this case, total games played or errors, right? And what type of errors did I have, and what's the time frame for the errors? Was the error from production or development? And like, how do these things work? How am I playing with data? Maybe, for instance, maybe you write a web app and you want to test new things, or you have a test environment. That web app makes an API call to your backend API, and then that API actually says, okay, it writes data to the production environment, but then also writes it to the dev environment. So by writing it to two different places, then that way you can actually start playing with live data as it comes in, and then you can test out new code with that. And that's something that I want to get into with working with larger companies and larger data sets and stuff like that. So that's definitely something I've been thinking about, and how like I can actually do that and coming up with quote unquote good ideas. And a part of that is having all you might have a development dashboard for your Splunk, and you might have a production dashboard for your Splunk. And then you should say, okay, once all this information comes in, I can start to visualize it with all these different graphs and numbers and everything else like that. And then people can really see like, okay, what's really happening with this, application? What are the problems? What are the pitfalls and the issues that I'm running into? So this would be something nice. So I would feed Splunk in this case, and then I would also possibly consume Splunk for maybe my own custom dashboard or emailed reports or something like that. But most likely you'll use whatever Splunk has available. And then you can set all that up so that you can actually, do some work and produce metrics based off of that. Okay. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff you can do here with Splunk, as you can see. Yeah, this would be a good one here. So with this break or this image, it's blurry enough already with everything here. But I'll probably do this. Okay, I keep saying that every stream, but I really want to fix this in terms of fix the quality. So here we can have all these different columns here. So we can, when it was sent, is it SSL, non-SSL, SSL validity window. I don't know what this is. So SSL activity. So you can see all these different things like, okay, this page that we went to has a valid SSL cert. And in our case, it might be something like, what is the error? Was it a warning? How many times did it happen? Did it happen in dev? Did it happen in production? You want to have as little errors as possible in production. That way you can actually start, you can work from a position of not comfort, but stability and a peace of mind, if you will, when you're writing your code, and it's not rushed, but you still maintain a proactive stance or mindset when it comes to dealing with issues and things like that, or being prepared for issues. All right, so where did okay, we did this, and I did the Udemy link. This here is one. All right, and node mailer. Oh, we'll do node mailer about. Great project, by the way. I've been using it for quite a bit of time now. I think this project's over how long ago? Yeah, this is over 2 years old now. So let's look at the commit for this. I think this is where I discovered no mailer, or I don't think I discovered it here, but I started using the simple parser out of the node mailer project. So yeah, 2019, so over 2 years now I've been using this project. Yeah, definitely over 2 years. I was using it to actually send emails. Yeah. All right, but that's what I wanted to do. I'll post this in the chat, so you guys can go ahead and check that out. It's on npm.js, but you can go ahead and do an npm install or npm I node mailer in terms of the module. But this is kind of how I want to start handling errors and again, making this part of the infrastructure code here. So in terms of the core stuff, error handling tools, and then sending things out, like sending out errors for emails or anything else like that, or sending out errors via emails, if any, and then just copy and paste. Like I was like, oh, okay, error handling, boom. Every time I do a try catch block in my catch, it always has like this here. It might output to the console, but for the most part, I should see this error handling combo every single time, in terms of like when I put some stuff out. But yeah, so I think I'll end it there. I'm kind of a little bit tired after dealing with this deployment or this maintenance of deployment of new code, but it was a maintenance of a currently running app, and trying to prep for a new feature and going over some of the things that we went over on stream. So I'll leave you guys with this, do things to make yourself better. I've said that so many different times in so many different ways, but do things to improve yourself. And a part of that is doing things outside of work, doing things that are not in the scope or realm of your day-to-day task, doing things that, not to impress your boss, but doing things to put yourself in a better position. A lot of people want to do either the bare minimum and expect a great amount of money or a great amount of accolade or what have you, but you really, really, really have to do a little bit more. You really have to do quite a bit more to be above average, to do more. Like these streams that I do, I explore different things. Like you can see how now it's kind of crazy in terms of like my progression and what I've done over the years, but like I can write this code here and there would be little to no errors in this. Like, I know what to do. I've seen this before. For me, I've practiced it so much and done it so much that I know this Splunk API call, that's not going to be a big deal to do that. In fact, what I might actually do is have an async function, and then I might have an await or something like that if I actually really need to wait for it. If anything, I'll just run the function and it just does what it does. I don't need any type of return from it or anything like that. I can do all these things now, and I can think about it because I do a little bit more. I do these streams. I do things off stream. Not so much nowadays because I work so much, but I do things. I usually do things off stream. I think about things off stream. I do my research. I do a lot of research off stream and things like that. So do more to get more. If you want more, then you're going to have to do more. Don't be out here and thinking that you're going to get more by just thinking about it and talking things into existence. No, you're going to actually have to work. You're going to have to do more. You're going to have to put fingers to keys in this case instead of pen to paper. But you're going to have to put fingers to keys and type things out. You're going to have to test these things because now we see that the code that I was working on last week is now actually in development. Well, you guys don't see that, but that code is actually in development and working properly. So we do all these things to make ourselves better, but then also to make what we actually produce better as well. Anyways, guys, with that being said, you don't have to listen to me. You don't, I always say, if you're not taking what I say with a grain of salt, you're low on sodium, go ahead and you can trust me, but verify it. Do a little bit more and see how this all works. Guys, it'll be another stream tomorrow, hopefully on time. I do also have two streams planned tomorrow. One is around noon, noon Saturday, noon Eastern Saturday, and that's going to be talking about adoption, and that whole process from a MGTOW lens. And then the other stream is going to be talking about, or is going to be the Obfuscate stream for that night. So we do Obfuscate streams on Friday and Saturday nights, usually around 9:30. But for lately I've been really off, so I've been doing stuff at 10:30. In this case, 11:40 I think is when 12 is when I started this stream. So yeah. But as always, thanks for listening, and for those that caught a little bit of the chat live, my brother Lionel, thank you for showing up in the chat and having engagement and liking, and for those that catch the playback, engage with questions. Catch the stream when I'm actually on, and that's definitely my fault in terms of not being consistent with that as much as I used to be, but it's hard and I'm tired. All right. Talk to y'all later. Peace.